Hannah Carter stood just inside the tall glass doors of Westbridge Tech's headquarters, her thin resume folder clutched tight in both hands. The morning sunlight streamed through the spotless windows, catching the scuffs on her second-hand shoes and the slight tear near the hem of her thrifted skirt. She'd ironed it twice that morning, trying to smooth out the years it had seen on other people's backs before landing in her closet. But now, standing in this gleaming lobby of polished marble floors and whisper-quiet elevators, Hannah felt every threadbare inch of it. She shifted from foot to foot, eyes darting to the reception desk, where a sleek young assistant in a headset barely glanced her way. Around her, professionals in expensive suits drifted past, heads bent over phones and tablets. No one looked at Hannah twice, no one except for the security guard by the door, whose eyes softened a little when they met hers. She gave him a small, polite smile. She was early. She'd planned it that way. Bus routes were unpredictable, and she couldn't afford a taxi, so she'd woken up at 5, walked 2 blocks in the cold to the bus stop, and rehearsed her answers over and over in her head as the city drifted by outside the rattling windows. She closed her eyes and silently mouthed the lines again. Yes, I'm a fast learner. No, I don't have a college degree yet, but I'm saving for night classes. Yes, I'm comfortable with overtime. No, I don't mind starting at the bottom. Please just give me a chance. A loud squeak of wheels snapped her out of it. Across the lobby, an old man in a faded grey jumpsuit struggled to push a cleaning cart across the polished floor. A loose mop head dragged behind him, leaving faint streaks of dirty water in its wake. His shoulders were hunched. His hands trembled slightly as he tried to lift a leaking trash bag out of the bin attached to the cart. A man in a tailored suit nearly tripped over the mop. He turned, muttered something sharp at the old man, and kept walking without offering to help. Hannah's chest tightened. She glanced at the receptionist, still ignoring her. She looked back at the old man. Without thinking, she tucked her folder under her arm and stepped forward. "Hey, do you need a hand?" she asked softly. The old man startled, looking up at her with watery blue eyes. "I'm sorry, miss. I didn't mean to make a mess. Just got a leak in the bag, see? Don't worry about it." Hannah crouched down, ignoring the damp floor. She gripped the torn bag with him, lifted it together, and steadied the cart while he tied it up with trembling fingers. "Thank you, dear," he said. His voice was scratchy, like he didn't use it often. He had kind eyes, a bit hidden behind thick glasses. "People usually just walk around me like I'm part of the floor." Hannah smiled shyly. "Well, my mom always said we're all part of the same floor. Somebody's got to clean it, right?" He gave a soft, surprised chuckle. "Your mama sounds like a smart woman." Hannah shrugged, suddenly self-conscious. She was. She glanced at the front desk, where the receptionist now looked irritated, tapping a pen against the counter as if Hannah's kindness was a waste of time. "I should probably check in," Hannah said, standing up and smoothing her skirt again. The old man gave her a gentle nod. "You go knock 'em dead, miss," he said. "They'd be lucky to have you." Hannah blushed, thanked him, and hurried over to the front desk. The receptionist called her name in a bored tone and handed her a visitor badge. "Mr. Reynolds will see you now. Top floor, last door on the right. Don't keep him waiting. He hates that." Hannah nodded, suddenly feeling the nerves bubble up in her chest again. She turned back once before stepping into the elevator. The old janitor was already mopping up the last of the water, but when he looked up and caught her eye, he gave her a tiny, proud thumbs up. She couldn't help but smile. Maybe today wouldn't be so impossible after all. She didn't know that the moment she stepped out of that elevator, everything about her life, and that old janitor's identity, was about to change forever. When the elevator doors opened on the top floor, Hannah stepped out, trying to calm the pounding in her chest. The hallway was quieter than she expected. Thick carpet, modern art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, showing off a skyline she'd never thought she'd see from this high up. She clutched her folder tighter, her fingers trembling just slightly as she walked toward the last door on the right. She paused, took a deep breath and knocked. "Come in!" a deep voice called. Hannah pushed open the door and found herself in a sleek office bigger than her entire apartment. One wall was all glass, sunlight pouring in behind a massive wooden desk. A man in an expensive suit sat there, tapping through something on his tablet. He looked up, eyes cool and assessing. "Miss Carter, is it?" "Yes, sir." Her voice almost cracked, but she held it steady. She stepped forward, trying to stand tall, even though her thrift store outfit looked so out of place here. He gestured to the chair in front of him. "Sit." She obeyed, setting her folder on her lap. The man, Mr. Reynolds, according to the receptionist, flipped his tablet shut and folded his hands. "So," he said, drawing out the word, "you think you're qualified to be my new administrative assistant?" Hannah swallowed. "I believe I am, sir. I may not have a degree yet, but I've worked part-time for 2 years, managing files and scheduling for a small local business. I'm organized, reliable, and I'm willing to work." He held up a hand. "Stop." He leaned back, looking almost amused. "Do you know how many applicants I have for this job, Miss Carter?" She opened her mouth, but he didn't wait for an answer. 37 people with better resumes, better clothes, and degrees from places I've actually heard of. So tell me, why should I waste my time on you?" Hannah's face flushed hot. She felt the sting behind her eyes, but refused to let it show. She sat up straighter. "Because I care," she said, her voice firm. "Because I'm not afraid of hard work. Because I showed up early and helped your janitor when nobody else would even look at him." Mr. Reynolds' eyebrows lifted slightly. He tilted his head. "You did what?" "I helped the janitor downstairs," Hannah said. "His trash bag tore, so I helped him clean it up. I didn't want to be late, but he needed a hand." For a moment, Mr. Reynolds stared at her. Then, to her confusion, he smiled, a slow, knowing smile. He stood up and walked around the desk, leaning against it in front of her. "Miss Carter, do you know who that janitor is?" Hannah frowned. No, sir, I just thought he was the janitor." Mr. Reynolds chuckled softly. "Technically, you're right. He is, but he's also Henry Blake, the founder and majority shareholder of Westbridge Tech." Hannah's mouth fell open. She blinked once, twice, trying to process the words. "I'm sorry, what?" "He built this company from nothing, sold his patents, reinvested every cent. When he retired from the board, he asked to stay on as our janitor, said it keeps him humble, and it lets him see who people really are." Hannah's thoughts raced back. The old man's soft eyes, his gratitude, the way he'd said, "They'd be lucky to have you." Mr. Reynolds stepped aside and opened the door behind her, and there, standing in the hallway, was the same old man in the faded jumpsuit. Except now, he looked different, standing taller, his kind smile wide and warm. Hannah scrambled to her feet. "Sir, I didn't know. I just wanted to help." Henry Blake waved a gentle hand. "You did help, my dear, and you showed me exactly the kind of heart we need here." He turned to Reynolds. "Make sure she starts tomorrow, full salary, and tell payroll to cover her night classes." Hannah's hands flew to her mouth. Tears welled up before she could stop them. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll do the job well," Henry said with a grin, "and maybe remind these suits that kindness matters more than fancy diplomas." Mr. Reynolds gave her a respectful nod this time, not the cold stare from before. Hannah felt her shoulders relax, her chest fill with something warm and light she hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you," she whispered, voice breaking as she reached out to shake Henry's hand, the same hand she'd held a trash bag with only an hour ago. Out in the lobby, as she walked back past the glass doors, into the world that suddenly felt wide open, Hannah Carter held her head high, ready to work, ready to study, ready to prove that sometimes the best opportunities find you when you least expect them.